How upright should you be in your squat? This is a super common question in the fitness world, and I think it's made out to be unnecessarily confusing. So my hope is that for you, by the end of watching this video, you're going to be super clear on what to focus on instead, and to then allow for your proper torso lean angle to emerge. And I say emerge because I don't think that you should have to do anything like bust out a protractor to be able to tell whether or not you're leaned forward too much or you're not leaned over far enough. Okay, I think that if you just focus on the proper things to do in your squat, that your proper torso angle will just be what it will be. You won't even need to think about it. I certainly don't, and this is what I want to pass on to you. So without further ado, the first thing you've got to understand is that where you place the weight on your body, let's say you put it in front of you on your collarbones, or you put it behind you on the back of your shoulders, where do you place the external weight on your body when you are squatting is going to hugely influence how leaned over you have to be to stay balanced and complete the squat. Just think about it. If I raise my arms out and I hold a small weight in my hands, this is going to force me to stay more upright with my torso as I squat, because I need to do that to counterbalance where that external weight is and how it's changing my center of mass and how I have to form a different shape with my body to accommodate that. And likewise, if I have the weight behind me, it's the same concept. I have to lean over more. Because if I try to be more upright like this, then the weight's just gonna fall off me, or it's just gonna, it's gonna pull me down. So super simple, but that's something you've got to understand. Otherwise, you will be chasing after the same uprightness in all of your squats, which is that is a fool's errand. Okay, so understand that. Once you understand that, here are the two things that I think you should focus on regardless of where you put the weight on your body when you squat. Because it doesn't matter if the weight's right here, the weight's right here. These two things I'm about to share with you, they will still apply to every squat variation. Okay, those two things are, number one, proper core bracing, and number two, fighting to keep your torso behind your thighs. Now let's unpack what those two things mean. Number one, proper core bracing. What is core bracing? Core bracing is when the muscles of your core box are co-contracting. That the timing of those muscles, they're synced up. Your diaphragm, your pelvic floor, your abs, and your low back, all those muscles, they're co-contracting, creating a brace around this region of your body. So that means that you trying to stay upright shouldn't come at the cost of being too lax there, okay? Because if you've been around squatting, you've probably seen this error where the person will keep their breastbone super high up, will fight to keep it there at all costs, and then they'll just kind of send their butt back, and then you just tell there is a lack of tension in the core region. Okay, so if you find yourself being too upright, then the fix is very simple. It's just prioritize that core bracing more, and then you can be as upright as you'd like. And another thing to clarify here is that it's not that moving your spine, that biasing your spine into extension, to back bending is bad. Okay, you can have core bracing under a variety of spine shapes, right? You can have your spine a little bit more into extension and brace there. You can have it a little bit more into flexion and brace there. Okay? The important thing here is that whatever you do, whatever spine shape you pick that feels most comfortable for that heavy lifting task, that you know how to prioritize the proper amount of core bracing. And you keep it that way the entire lift. Okay? So that's the first thing. The second thing is fighting to keep your torso behind behind your thighs. Now, what does that mean exactly? Okay, if you squatted heavy before, or if you've just bent over before, you're going to notice that there's a point in bending over and leaning forward where it feels like gravity's leverage in dumping you forward jumps like crazy. Okay, it's like you lean forward. Okay, I can definitely feel gravity trying to pull me forward. Okay. And then whoa, right there, right around there, it feels like gravity now has much more leverage to pull me down. And so you want to stay on the other side of that, okay? You will have to lean forward on all your squats. There's no squat where you keep your feet flat on the ground where you don't have to have some amount of forward lean. But it's that you don't want to allow for a forward lean amount that drastically increases gravity's leverage to dump you forward more. Okay, so another way of saying it is keep your torso behind your thighs. Fight to keep it that way. Okay, when you're front squatting, it's going to be less of a fight because with the weight in front of you, you don't have to lean over quite as much compared to if the weight is behind you. But still, even when the weight is behind you and you are leaning forward more, still fight to keep your torso behind your thighs. Okay, that's why I'm emphasizing this, because this concept of fighting to keep your torso behind your thighs, that is universal to all loaded squats. So put another way, do you have a problem with being too upright, or do you have a problem with being too lean forward? If you have a problem with being too upright, then prioritize your core bracing better. If you have a problem with being too lean forward, then fight to keep your torso behind your thighs. Okay? You do these two things, and that sweet spot of forward lean for any particular squat that you're doing will emerge. You won't have to think about it. It's just going to be a feeling of, ooh, that feels good when I got my core bracing right. Ooh, that feels good when I keep my torso behind my thighs. Just prioritize these two things for any squat variation that you do, and let your torso angle be what it will be. Okay, so that's the video. If you got any questions, please leave it in the comments below. I love clarifying this kind of content for people. And if you found this video valuable, please consider giving it a like. And if you want more content on squat and deadlift technique and how to continue lifting heavy without feeling like your body's stiffening up all the time, then consider subscribing to this channel. Cheers.